Good evening, my fellow Americans. This is the 16th President, Abraham Lincoln, as President from 1861 and during the Civil War until my unfortunate death at the hands of an insane man in 1865. I'm talking to you from the monument, the Lincoln Memorial in the city of Stone, also known as Washington, D.C., the capital, the federal district of the United States of America. My fellow Americans, I have an important speech to talk about on this night, on Christmas Eve, going to Christmas morning. It is around 9:30 Eastern Standard Time here in the eternal city of Stone. I want to talk to you about now the issues of mental health in the United States of America. Once again, the name of this speech is entitled The Issues of Mental Health in the United States of America. Point 1. Under the leadership of a president named Ronald Wilson Reagan, the 40th president, elected in 1981, serving until 1989. He is the 40th president. During this time, he invoked the physical policy of trickle-down economics. Whether you believe his policy worked or not is unimportant to me, because I am dead. Only thing I know, one of his policies that he did was failed. It released millions of mentally ill people and closed many mental hospitals in the need of saving money for different wars, to fight the Russians in Afghanistan and other things like that, to fight wars in foreign countries. I'm not saying be an isolationist, but remember, during the time that we're an isolationist country, for the first part of our many years of our country, George Washington told us not to fight wars in foreign countries. We should only fight in America to defend America against other foreign powers. We have strayed away from George Washington, our first president, who cut down a cherry tree and said, "I cannot tell a lie." During the American Revolution, he was instrumental in setting up places for soldiers who suffer from what we now know as PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. But back then it was called something simpler as shell shock, or that we called them plain crazy, which I know is a defamatory word, but we did not know any better at that time. We were not politically correct as you are now in the future. Remember, it is the 17th century. Now you live in the 21st century, so act like it. It's not 1784. It's the year 2014, going on 2015 in a couple of days. But once again, back to point 1. Many mental hospitals were closed under his direction of President Reagan. These people put on the streets where they did drugs and engaged in illegal activities. My solution to the next President of the United States, or even to the great person who is now the President, I say congratulations to the first black President of the United States, President Barack Hussein Obama, the 44th President of the United States. He's a black person, aka of African descent, African American. Once again, I will use a political term. Many black people do not use African American, for they were born in America. They know nothing about an African. I say that because the person I'm using the channel through right now, so his voice is a person who is black, but he has never referred to himself as an African American. He wished they would take it off the census and rolls like that. He knows nothing about Africa. His family has been in America for 500 years, since 1641. Some of the first slaves who came through Charleston, South Carolina, are back on track of the subject. Whether it be President Obama or the next President of the United States, the 45th President of the United States, that's yet to be seen. We need to reopen mental institutions and put people who are mentally unstable, who will never be cured, in these places to keep them from the general public and the safety of the general public. If not, more problems will ensue. Once again, if you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, it is called insanity. Plain and simple, it is insanity. To do something the same way over and over again and expect different results is insanity. Only a truly insane person would do the same thing. If you are supposed to be a logical and coherent person, you would not do insane practices. If you do insane practices, they will call you crazy. They will call you insane. So let our leaders not be that way. Let's do what is right because it is the right thing to do. Not because out of convenience, because this is the right thing to do. The second issue. The justice system for mentally ill people. I have heard of a story of a black American. Yes, I will use the terminology of black American who lives in the state of Atlanta, Georgia, by the name of Anthony W. I would like to say his real name, his last name, for he's in fear of the police, even as we speak. Retribution for the police. He's fearful that the police will kill him or attack him and beat him in the streets. So for that, I will use enemy to protect this person. He has certain charges pending, but none are for hurting people or raping or killing. He has charges pending because he is mentally ill. He always sees and hears voices. Even under medical supervision, he always hears and sees voices. What is my point, my brothers and sisters? This person will always suffer from mental illness. He is a veteran of the U.S. Army, and he suffers from PTSD and 10 to 17 other mental illnesses. He has been evaluated by 70 doctors. They have all said the same thing. This person is terribly mentally disturbed, but he is a non-violent person. He is being charged with crimes that are because of his illness. And he's being picked on by the police for doing things that he could not help because he is mentally ill. Now, the problem is, he has gone to the district attorney and gone to the doctor that they evaluated. But the same doctor that evaluated him and said for the military that he is totally 100% certified, mentally incompetent. Because the district attorney used their force and willpower upon the doctor, years later he would turn around and say that person is totally mentally fit to stand trial. But yet we know it's not true. If you hear and see voices, a normal person does not do that, my brothers and sisters of America. As you as a normal person, you hear disembodied voices talking to you? Pick up the gun. Pick up the gun. No, you do not. That is not normal. That's not normal human behavior. I don't care what the district attorney in Atlanta, Georgia says. That is not normal. That person is never would be normal. Not in any Wikipedia, any dictionary, Webster dictionary, Standard American dictionary. That person is not normal. That person suffers from a mental illness. They cannot get me to believe that. I am honest Abe. I would not lie to my fellow Americans. As you, as a sane person, hear voices and see things that aren't there, balls of light, orbs, demons standing there with knives telling you to kill people, that is not normal. It never will be normal. No matter what medicine we give certain people who are mentally ill, they will always suffer from mental illness. There is no cure for that. Now that was what is unfair with that situation, that made the district attorney forces these doctors to write the reports and pay them and bribe them to pay reports, telling you that these people are mentally sane when they are totally mentally ill. And as far as the people in Texas always thought themselves as special people, even during the Civil War. But once again, the Texas people like to execute retarded people. But once again, now we have a classification where some doctors think that retarded people should be listed under people with mental illnesses, because they have the same afflictions and ailments that a person with mental illness has. In Texas, they like to electrocute retarded people. But if they put more investments in training these people who are mentally slow and tell them what to do and how to live instead of building more jails, maybe these people would do better. It's a shame of Texas. It's a shame of America that we allow this to happen. The third thing. Mentally ill people are not afforded the proper medicines and treatments that they need so they can be cured of their illness. We use medicine from the 17th, 16th, and 15th century to treat people living in the 21st century. In Europe, Asia, Russia, and even Africa, people are treated with the latest technology for treating mental illnesses. Africans are getting better treatment than people in the United States of America. Go to the CDC website. Even though I am Honest Abe, do not believe anything someone says. You can Google it, I think it's called. Bling it, Yahoo. Talk to a psychiatrist, psychologist if you don't believe what I have to say. Pay them $20 or $30 to have them educate you about mental illness. You will learn. If we do not learn, then our country will always be in these unstable situations. Mentally ill people are asking the police to kill them. How many times in the past 40 years have mentally ill people committed what is now called suicide by cop? Listen to me and my fellow Americans. If not, then America is headed for years of turmoil, indecision, and strife. And my last issue, the fourth point, guns. I am not asking you for gun control. But just remember this. Before the Civil War, very few people could afford a gun. Most murders were committed with knives, hatchets, and axes, or rocks and stones, and wood, and bats, and shillelaghs. Where's this fancy for an Irish walking stick? Yes, I am President Abraham Lincoln, the ghost of. But during the Civil War, the federal troops, our enemy, bought guns from Europe, Asia, and any other place where they can get guns from. After the war, we're inundated with guns. And that started America's love affair with guns. Mentally ill people live in houses with people who are not mentally ill. The people who are not mentally ill want to keep their right to their guns. But they do not do what it needs to protect these people from using their guns. In America, we should promote the smart guns, the A-Matrix, smart guns. Now, some states are trying to make it where if the first smart gun is sold, they will stop selling other guns. That's not the thing to do. If a person has a person in their house who's mentally ill, they should buy a smart gun to use with the watch so that that person will not be able to use their gun. And also keeps people who break in your house from using your gun. I've seen it many times on TV. A mentally ill person has broken someone's house, found their gun, and used that very gun on them to kill them. Because they put the gun and bullets in the same place. Person, it should be against the law. But if it does not become against the law, then that person should be responsible for that weapon and put that weapon up somewhere so that the mentally ill person couldn't get to it using a lock, a key, or buy a smart gun. That's the easier way to go. Remember, my Americans, I care for you. I believe in you. But once again, aren't we all Americans? In America, we strive to do what is right. Not because of the accolades, not because of the praise, because it is the right thing to do. Remember, my fellow Americans, excuse me, I myself was a victim of gun violence at the hands of a deranged person who was delusional. Look up Abraham Lincoln assassination. The person who killed me was mentally ill from all accounts. Well, he didn't act normally. He is disillusional. And once again, disillusion is a mental illness. He was under perception if he killed me, the South would become free again. We all know that was a delusional thought. I am Abe Lincoln, and I wish everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and peace eternal. I'm talking to you now from the Lincoln Memorial in the city of Stone, the eternal city of Stone in Washington, D.C., District Federal of the United States of America. Have a good evening, and God bless these United States.